You guys all see that? I'm guessing, yeah? Okay. Okay, so please ask questions. If I don't have the answer for them, I will research and find them out later. So at the end, I'll write them all down if I don't know them off the top of my head. So write them down as we go. And then, like Erin said, she'll help facilitate them and I'll do my best to answer them at the end. Okay, so first we're going to go through the navigation of Microsoft Teams. So in the app, there's a navigation bar. So that's that section there on the side. And that's where you're going to navigate through your chat, through your Teams. You can see your calendar, go through your calls, and all that type of stuff. Okay, so for settings, everybody has this like personalized, it's either going to be your initial or your photo, and that's where you're going to find all of your settings in this setting button right here. So you can pretty much personalize Microsoft Teams as much as you want. You can do like a light or dark setting in the general, set the language and all that stuff all in that settings. Privacy, you can set a do not disturb. So you can also set, if you have it on your phone as an app, you can set quiet times so that your phone doesn't go off, say, on a Sunday at 9 p.m. when somebody's working and they try to get a question answered. You won't get notified until that next day when your quiet setting's off. Notifications, that's this example right here. So you can set everything to be personalized. So whether you just want the banner, that's when it just pops up as the little section at the bottom of your screen. You can get a banner and an email. You can turn it off. You can set it pretty much however you want for all of the different ways that you can be notified and for all the different messages, chats, when people mention you, all that stuff. Devices is going to be where you're going to add any microphones, new cameras, anything like that. That'll all be set up in there. Permissions is the next one. So you can turn permissions on or off. You can set your location on and off so that, I don't know, if you want to be tracked or whatever, you can turn that off. And then you can also turn off your read receipts. So if you don't want people to know that you've opened your message yet, you can turn that off as well. We all use the Microsoft Teams for calls. So that calls setting is where you're going to do set up your voicemail, your ringtone if you want to change it, and you can even set up rules. So if you're out of the office, you can set an out of the office voicemail. You can make it so that your calls get automatically forwarded. So say I'm out of the office, but I want all my calls to get forwarded to Katie. I can set that up so they automatically go to her instead of going to my voicemail. Okay, so chats is the next one. So chats can be one-on-one, they can be group conversations, they can be kind of however you want. Chats is more of like a general quick question type of thing, where Teams is a little bit different, and we'll talk about that later. Chats you can start a couple different ways. So that little notepad with the pencil on it, that's going to be the main way you're going to start a conversation. You can either type in somebody's name within the organization or their email address, and that's an easy way. You can also use this button right here with the plus sign and the people, and that is a way that you can add people to a chat. So say I'm talking to Katie and I want to add Todd onto it. If I push that button, put Todd's name into it, it'll actually start a new chat and keep that same chat so that mine and Katie's conversation doesn't get deleted. You can also pin chats, hide chats, all that sort of stuff. So if you hover over a chat, there will be the 3 ellipses that pop up. So as you can see, Katie's chat is pinned right here. Normally all the chats are in date order, time order. So if I don't want her chat to be like disappear in the nonsense, pinning her chat is an easy way so I don't have to dive through and find her every single time I want to chat with her, since I work with her all the time, every day. You can hide chats as well. So if you just don't want a chat to be there anymore, it doesn't necessarily delete the chat. It just takes it off of that stream. And then say I want to talk to Katie again after I hide her chat, I can either search her name right here or restart a chat, and all of our old conversation will come up again. So like I said, it doesn't delete it. It just hides it. You can also leave group chats in that same setting. And like I said, it would just take me out of a chat rather than deleting it. Okay, going on to Teams. So Teams is more of a collaboration type system. So it's more in depth than a chat. So it's the easiest way for people to collaborate on content, tools for specific groups and projects, where chats are more of like a quick conversation, a quick question, stuff like that. So there's a couple different ways to start a chat or start a team, and I'll kind of go through both of them. But we're gonna just build a team from scratch. So when you're in that team, you're gonna put join or create a team, then create a team and build from scratch. So that's starting a team brand new. You're gonna make all the settings. There's not gonna be any pre-programs other than just like the basics, and it just starts it from new. If you're gonna do create from, that's creating a copy. So say I wanna start a new Lucas Hire team, and I want all of the same content to be on that next team because I'm gonna teach somebody how to onboard employees. I will be able to create from that. I can select and unselect like documents or people that I want. I can add new people that way. But for like Joe, if you're doing a class, that'll be the easiest way. You can have like a class template. You create a group from that template and you can add your new students to it that way, rather than having to start a new one from scratch every single time and add all the content you want on there every single time. You can just build a template, copy the template, and add your new attendees. Okay, so when you're building a team, you can have it private or public. So pretty much private is as a creator or the people you give that permission level, they can add people to it and nobody else can. If it's public, it just is open to your whole organization. So everybody's going to be able to see it whether they're added to it or not. You make a team name, you can add a description. So I just kind of took snippets as I was building this presentation. So Microsoft Teams basics. If I put a description, I could have put, I'm adding everybody for the Microsoft Teams class. And then you add members. So when you're adding members, you can either type names for the people within your organization, or you can type in email addresses for the people outside of your organization. So people with RLs, it'll just go straight to their email, and then that's the way they can be notified that they are in that team. So each team automatically will have a general channel. So channels are going to be the breakouts within the team. So you can add pretty much as many as you want, and not everybody has to be in those added ones, but there's always a general. General always has every single person that's within the team. So using that, add more people. That's how you're going to add extras. If later on you think of more people you want to add, and creating more channels, that's where you're going to be able to create new channels. When you're creating channels, you're going to have pretty much those same teams descriptions. So channel name, the description, you can set the privacy. So if everybody, or if you want everybody to see it, or if you don't, if you have it private, then only the people you add to that group, it'll only pop up on their desktop or on their application. If you want it, only the people in that group to know that that secret group is made or created or whatever it's for, you can do that, or you can make it accessible to everybody without everybody being in it. Okay, so for conversations, each channel has a chat room. The one difference of channel chats versus your actual chats is when I create a conversation, you can reply to that specific conversation bubble instead of it being a new bubble every single time. And you can @mention members. So when you @mention people, you their name or their email address, it'll automatically send them a notification that there's activity in a channel, and then they'll be able to go to that channel and either reply or finish that project. And then for going into like sharing files a little bit, this little paperclip, you can do it that way. You can drag and drop files to share. When you drag and drop, it'll automatically go in this files tab, but you can also go into the files tab to add documents. And same thing, you can either drag and drop, or there's an add button too. This plus sign is going to be where you can add apps. So Microsoft has all of their apps. You can do Word, OneNote, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever. And then they also have a bunch of other apps that aren't Microsoft based that you can use. So if you are using a specific application, like there's like Forms is the Microsoft version, but they have all of those other poll taking applications that you can use for classes as well. And they're all in this plus sign and in their app selection of, there's a bunch of them. Okay, so when you're doing conversations in a channel, so it can be a new conversation. Like I said, when you start a conversation, people can reply off of that single conversation. And you can format it with all of the same formatting options that any Microsoft-based application has. So same with Word, PowerPoint, Excel, all that stuff. You can add a subject, you can mention people. You can make it so everyone can reply, or just make it so it's a broadcast so that it's only a message that you don't want anybody to reply, so it can be that way as well. And you can also post in multiple channels. So when you're doing a class, Joe, maybe that's how you do your breakout rooms, is people are split up in their channels, but you want to post that you want everybody to get back on that main call. You can do this, and you can post in all of your channels that, hey guys, in 5 minutes, we're meeting back on the main channel. And then everybody can know that in 5 minutes they need to join that. And instead of you having to go in every single channel and post that message, it can just be broadcasted throughout. You can also do an announcement. So it kind of is like a folder. You can set backgrounds to it when you're in this conversation box. Okay, so this is a little bit deeper into file sharing. So in that Files tab, you can start new documents as well. So you can open a new Word document or anything like that. The cool thing with this is that it's all real time. So say Katie and I were working on a document together. If we had it opened in Teams, it would be like it's shared in a SharePoint file so that we can work on it in real time. It's saving in real time. We can both see what each other are the changes we're both making, and it automatically saves. And like I said, it's all real time. You can also be in calls, in meetings, in video chats, whatever, all while you're still doing this. And in this 3 ellipses, that's where you can go to the actual SharePoint file. So it automatically shares to a SharePoint file. In that 3 ellipses, you click on that and it'll give you a link to open it in the web. Okay, so going through creating a Microsoft Teams meeting, you can do it through Outlook or Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to kind of take you on how to do both of them, because they're both pretty similar. They're both going to send out notifications the same way, but depending on what app you're in and what you're using, you can decide which one works for you the best. So when you're in your calendar in Outlook, there's this new Teams meeting button, and it's probably where we're all used to the Zoom meetings being, or at least they used to be in that same section, or some people still have it in that same spot. So new Teams meeting, it opens this, just your normal meeting invitation. So all the same information is there: date, time, location. You can add another location if it can be in the office, or if you're giving both the option to be in person or virtual. As we all know, I think because we're all on a Teams meeting, this is the link. They can call in that way. Meeting options. So if you are the originator or you're the creator of that team meeting, those meeting options will allow you to have a little bit more dialed down of like how people join your Teams meeting. So if you give them permission, or if there's a waiting room and stuff like that, that's all going to be in that section. So in Microsoft Teams, kind of the same thing. You go to your calendar, and then there'll be a create meeting button up on that top right corner. Once you select that, it gives you all of the same information. But the one difference if you do it in Teams is you can add a whole channel or a whole team. So instead of typing out each individual email address, if they're already added to that channel or that team, you could just type in that team and it'll automatically invite everybody in that team. So that kind of makes it way easier. Scheduling assistant. Honestly, I like the Teams scheduling assistant a lot better than the Microsoft one. I think it's just more pleasing to the eye and kind of easier to look at. In the scheduling assistant, it does all that same thing. It'll show that other person's availability, give you suggested times, allow you to change the times if you want to, as well as add and remove attendees. And then you can send the invitation from that same screen as well. Okay, so when you're getting in a call or a meeting, you can turn your camera on or off, so you can join with your camera on or join with your camera off. You can also turn your microphone on and off, so which is honestly really nice, because if you want to join a meeting and you don't want your camera on, you don't like get on the meeting and you're like pushing buttons trying to get your camera off. I know Zoom used to not have that, and that was not very fun. You can do impromptu meetings as well as ones that are scheduled. So, and there's a lot of different ways that you can go about it. On the bottom of chats or channels, you can hit this button right here and it'll start a meeting, and it'll invite everybody in that channel or in that group. So if you're doing breakouts, the best way to do breakouts is by basing it off of the channels within a team. That's a good way for you to be like, okay, split up into your different class or into your different channels and start an impromptu meeting by clicking that camera button on the bottom. And then it automatically notifies everybody in that team that a meeting has been started and for you to join if you'd like. And then you get the same basic setting options. You can also go into your calendar and click the Meet Now. You just then have to add either people by name, by phone number, or by email address. So it does give you the option to call people rather than it being a video meeting, but it's more of it'll automatically send them a notification that a meeting, or they're being requested to join a meeting, and then they can join that way. But then again, it's not really like as as effective as doing it within a channel or within a team. Once you're in a meeting for screen sharing, this is the button that you're going to want to click. Then it gives you the option to do it just a single window or your whole entire screen. But the way that you'll know exactly what you're screen sharing is a bright red box will be around it. So you'll know exactly what everybody's going to see by that bright red box. If you're doing a single window, so like I have my PowerPoint up right now, if I exit out of it, it automatically stops your screen sharing and brings back up everybody's video, either their picture, their name, whatever. But once you exit that screen that you've been sharing, it won't just automatically share your whole desktop. It'll close that. Okay, some new features that have came out recently are kind of cool, and it'll be really effective for the OPT guys actually. But one thing we all need to remember is Teams is like an ever-evolving application. They're taking people's suggestions, they're updating it all the time to make them the best in the business. They want to be better than Zoom, and they want to be better than all those other options. So they always have new stuff coming out, which is cool. So one of the first things that you'll need to do, or you'll need to check if it's clicked, is when you go into your settings under general, you'll want to turn on this new meeting experience. It does require you to restart Teams, and it also didn't make the change on my desktop until I restarted my computer. So that's just something to remember. But the option is it now allows you to have up to 49 people on your screen at once. So how you're going to have to do this is once you are in a Teams meeting, when you start a Teams meeting, it'll now pop out a new screen instead of being within that application. And then you're going to go to your three ellipses, and it's going to be a large gallery view. And then I think you have to have over 9 people or 10 people to get that large gallery view. But you do have to make sure that setting is checked to get that view for you. The other cool thing that they did is it's kind of funny looking, but they're making it look like it's called a together mode, and it's in that same setting. So it brings everybody in kind of like this gallery view, but it just makes people feel like they're together. So I think they're trying to do it more for like students and stuff like that, with how they're bringing teams into classrooms and making it so students can feel like they're all together in a classroom. And you do need more than 5 people in your class to do this. The next thing that they also did was with that pop out of your team screen. You know how you usually have to like wiggle your mouse to get your all your options to show up at the bottom? It's now like glued to the top of your screen. So you don't have to like disrupt your content or anything like that to get those settings. It's going to be automatically at the top of that. So again, it's kind of cool how they're forever developing, and I'll let you guys know if I find any other stuff that they are coming out with, but they are ever changing. New stuff's coming out for them all the time. This is just a new thing that came out within the last couple weeks. But it will be cool, because I know one of the big complaints when we first moved to Teams and having to use Teams is you could only see 2 people or 3 people on your screen at once, and now you can have everybody. Another benefit of it is if you're teaching a class, you can split your screens now so you can see your students while you're presenting, because I know that's kind of a huge thing, seeing your students' reactions and if they're paying attention or if they have a question or whatever. That's a good way for you to still be able to see all their expressions while still having your presentation on a different desktop, or if you're split screens, or however that is. Okay, so like I was talking about earlier, they have a lot of helpful apps. A lot of them are Microsoft based, and the Microsoft based ones are going to be a little bit more seamless within the Teams applications, but they do have a lot of other ones that are not Microsoft based at all. The ones that I've played with are all of the Microsoft based ones, but also, Planner was one that was really cool that Katie and I tried out a little bit. You can assign work to people, you can build a checklist, all that sort of stuff. So that one was really cool when it comes to having a project with deadlines and needing to know, like, Katie needed to finish this portion before I could finish this portion. You could attach documents to it, all sorts of stuff. So that's really cool if you're collaborating on a big project with people. You can add a OneNote in it. And like I said before, it's all real time when you add it to your Teams. Forms is a cool one too. That's one that could probably be used really well in a class-based setting, where you can have like survey questions go out on your team chats or in those channels, and people can answer all those like your survey questions and stuff like that, even at the end of courses. But yeah, those are all really cool ones. There's honestly so many, I couldn't even go into them and dive into them if I wanted to and have a good explanation of what all they have and which ones are really good. But like I said, the Microsoft ones are pretty seamless within the Teams app. Any questions?
Yeah. Hey, Presley, how do you mentioned polling, and Zoom polling is very seamless. It's easy to do. How would I set up a polling question?
A polling question?
For a class.
So, do you want it like real time?
Yeah, so I'd be teaching, and I'd want to understand how the students felt about a particular topic, like how does your organization handle corrective action management? And then I'd give them 4 options. So you know how to put a polling question in there?
Yeah, so there's an app, I think, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the one we were messing with, it was called Polly.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Polly.
Polly has an app within Microsoft Teams as well.
Okay, so you can build it, and then it resides as a file, and then when I do my presentation, I just bring up Polly, the polling question, and then they fill it in. Do I see the results in real time when they click the buttons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And I can dive into that and give you a little bit better of a how-to, because we played with it to see what apps were together. But I can dive into that and see a little bit more about like the how-tos and if we can pre-program stuff like that. Forms is more of like an after the class survey.
Yes. Okay, so when you mentioned challenge, I'm really glad you did that. So they called their breakout rooms channels, is that right?
Yeah, so when I took that class with Junior like a month ago, and the best way that they could do breakout rooms in a channel or within a team is to create a team. Everybody's in that general channel, and then you break out by like group 1, group 2, group 3 in channels. And then when you want people to go into a breakout room, you would have them get out of the main meeting and get into a separate meeting with the channel. And then that's where that broadcast message would be nice for you to say, okay,
Right.
everybody getting back into class in 5 minutes. Or, and then if you're in each of those channels, you can jump into each of those meetings separately as well.
Okay, so the question is, when they're in their channel, I noticed that they have access to files. So if they had a causal analysis worksheet that I needed them to do after assigning a case, could each individual channel work on their own form and have somebody populate it and then share it with the group when they get back?
Yep, so it would be all real time. So if it's saved in that channel under that files tab, they could open it when they're in, they can open their meeting, and then they can open that file, and they can all edit that file individually, or they can do it in real time where they're all editing it together.
Oh, very good. Okay. Yeah, I might have to practice that channel thing because Zoom is very intuitive. It's very easy. You just hit breakout rooms, they go,
Yeah.
they are automatically sent to the rooms. And then so is it as easy? Have you tried the Zoom breakout rooms?
I haven't,
Okay.
I haven't, but I think that will be something that comes to Teams eventually.
Oh, okay.
That from reading on some stuff, that is something that a lot of people question, is the breakout rooms. So I think an easier, seamless way of doing that will come in time. It's just not as seamless.
Okay, so I'll just have to, yeah.
So with the channels, we would have to like pre-populate that before the meeting starts, right, Presley?
I think so, yeah.
And then just be able to do it. It's not like, right, like what Presley was saying, it's not like instantaneous in Zoom where we can just determine who we're breaking out. We would just have to do that initial program before we kick off the session. But I think once we do, I mean, it's fine. It will be nicer if it's like Zoom, but I think if we can do that and set up that document you want, it's just having to do those initial steps, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's where doing like a Teams template would probably benefit the most, because analysis class is pretty repetitive every time you do it and you use the same scenarios and whatever. Having that general Teams template made with the breakout rooms with each of the documents they each need, and then creating that copy of one and adding they're supposed to be in it.
Okay, good. I'll just take some practice. So Jessica sent me something from planner tab, and you're right, it did look like a good way of assigning work, but I didn't have a clue what I was supposed to do with it when I got it. So I didn't see an assignment for me.
And it was supposed to go to your son. I got
that's it.
To the JOE versus JOS on who to assign to. So I was like, oh crap, wrong joke.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
This is what I kind of alluded to in the OPT meeting. You know, we tried Trello before and it wasn't super successful. But I think with Jessica and Junior and myself, right now we have things set up on Teams calendar to execute kind of deliverables for content. But I think if we see that as we become more savvy with using Teams, and that is a better platform to do those assignments and give a schedule, and you know, like Presley was saying, there may be tasks that one can't be done without the other being completed first. We might resort to that. And if that's the case, that's where I said, I think it would be best for us to have Jessica kind of come in and walk us through all of this rather than saying, hey, we're going to do this now. So you guys feel comfortable with how to use it.
I have a quick example too of it. So I'm going to share my screen again, and it's going to be of my actual Teams app. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in a Katie and Presley one, we have a financials one, and this is just, we were messing with it and seeing what's going on. So this is a completed task. But when you add a task, you can enter the task name, a due date, and then you can assign people within your organization. So this is one that we already did. You can move it from bucket to bucket. So there's going to be a completed bucket, a to-do bucket, an in progress bucket. If it's completed, if it's in progress, if it hasn't been started yet. Start date, the priority, if it's important, urgent, if it's a low priority. You can add notes, and that's all updated real time as well. So if I say, when we do payroll, we export from T-Sheets to Excel. If I did that, but I had an issue with it, I can write a comment on here. So Katie can just look at this and be like, oh, she had an issue with that. She's still working on it. And then a checklist as well. So you can do all the steps on here and mark it when it's done. And then you can add attachments. So if one of our Excel spreadsheets that I use to enter payroll, she can put that spreadsheet on here. So instead of me digging through our files to find it, she can add that attachment here. So I can just go to my to-do list. I can see that she finished it. It's my turn to do my part. And then I can open that attachment right there. And then at the bottom, it says who created it, who's assigned to it, and it actually notifies Katie when I assign her that project. You can label it all how you want. And then when you're done, you could just move it from bucket to bucket. So I don't have any, but it would, if the in progress was right here and completed was right here, you just drag and drop it. You can see it in a chart. So what's left to do, and then a calendar of due dates. So if we had a due date right here, you could open the calendar and be like, oh, that project's due then, and we can notify and make sure that project that it gets done when it needs to get done. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool.
It's a lot more comprehensive than Trello, and it's kind of nice where we've been talking about having that umbrella and having other things within rather than having to utilize all these different platforms, just kind of keeping everything under one place.
Yeah, so. Well, and it does. And I think Trello has, it probably has an app in Microsoft Teams.
It does.
All of the Microsoft-based programs work a little bit better within Teams than an outside application.
Can I offer a best practice with that app? Can you go back to your board view and open one of those cards for me?
1 second. There it is. So the board.
So open your completed task for me. So up here, can I take control of that?
Yeah.
So up here is where you add and remove people. Oh, that's weird watching my face move around there. So a best practice that I learned at a previous position is that instead of keeping everyone involved on that card, you reassign it to people when you are done with your task. So like I had a card with Joe Jr. And Aaron, and I had them on that initially. And then when you remove someone and add someone else, an email gets sent to them notifying them that you have a new task in Planner. And so then it also removes it from the to-do list of each person. And it's just a way of cleaning up your workload so you don't feel overwhelmed by all of these incomplete tasks. Yeah. So when you finish your part of it, remove yourself from the assigned to role and add the next person on that task. Mm-hmm. It's just an easy way of cleaning up your workload.
I think it's more seamless too when it comes to notifications, because if somebody has notifications turned off or something, it will notify them if they're added to it, but it doesn't always notify somebody if like something's checked off the checklist.
Correct.
Yeah. I had a couple questions.
Yeah.
So, and I know this is still something I'm kind of getting used to, but say you've already sent out a meeting invite and then someone wants to be invited later. The only way that I can figure how to do that is do a forward of that invite. Is there another way that you can just like a plus button where you add invitees to the meeting? So all I've been doing is just forwarding to people and then adding them in there to make that addition, because it doesn't, when you look at the invite, there's not even like where you can, where you see the people that are in there. I haven't figured it out how to add more people.
Are you doing it within Microsoft Teams or are you doing it in Outlook?
Either way, I've tried to do it. If it's a Teams meeting that we're doing like this, the only way that I've been able to figure it out is just forward it to the person that I wanted to add.
So I think if you're an originator, so I'm going to share again. If you're an originator of the meeting, so I just went into like our weekly staff meeting that we have on Mondays. If I was to go in here and add somebody, it should just forward them.
Okay. Let me try it that way then. Maybe I just overlooked it. And then the other question is, when you have chats in there, or like I'm recording this, how long does that stay in there, the historical? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. Just wondering.
So you're asking how long does the recording?
Like a recording or like a chat message that's in there. How long does that stay within the Teams foundation?
Until someone deletes it.
Okay.
I was going to say,
I didn't know if it just purged, because like I know Elevate has it set up that our emails, the historical data is only kept for so many days in there. So I didn't know if Teams did an automatic purge like that too, or you have to set that up as a setting to purge.
I guess it stays forever.
Not purge, but
Aaron,
it's not represented.
on the on your email, you said that it gets deleted after so long.
Not deleted, but it doesn't display.
They don't show up.
Yeah, you have to go into
The online version.
right.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure you knew that, because I've had to use that in the last couple of days. So
No, me too, because I'll go and I'll be like, and then, but I knew Elevate had sent something out that they were only keeping 90 days of active information, and then you have to go online. So I didn't know if Teams, that was something that they automatically did too, or if that would be a setting that you would do, or what.
It might be something that they do put on later on, just like in Outlook. So it could be like a yearly thing, and then you can also get on Microsoft Teams on a web base as well. So say you're on a different computer and you're out of town, you can log on to your Teams outside of your work computer or your work desktop.
Right. Like
On the app, it only keeps for a year, and then you'd have to go in there to find old stuff. But I don't.
And there are a lot of, I was going to say too, because Joe, I know for me, because we use Prezi sometimes, so there's a lot of other apps that Teams you can just quickly add into there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So if you go on your navigation bar, all the way at the bottom, there's going to be an apps button. If you go in that apps button, there are so many.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey Presley, where's that icon bar? Not the one that's on my screen now, right?
It's over on the
on your bar where it says like chat, Teams, all that stuff. At the bottom, there's going to be an apps.
Oh, on the Teams page, I get it. Okay, hang on a second. Let me get over there. So those, what'd you call those little dots?
The three ellipses.
Three ellipse.
I think that's what they're called.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going with it. I just want to sound smart when I use it.
But if you go all the way to the bottom, there's an apps, and it's pretty much like the app store.
Okay, below the three ellipse.
Yep. All the way.
Okay. Good. Very good. Three ellipse. Okay. So, yeah, there's the app store. Okay. So that's now. Did you say, Aaron, that Prezi is one of the apps that's on there if we have an account?
It is. So you can use Prezi in there, and you can use Prezi not only to make like PowerPoint and presentations, but you can also do Prezi video in there too.
Right. Okay. So, and that's what Teams.
And then there's, the new one that they have too, where you can combine the Prezi presentation while you're making a video, but it's all geared up that you can do that.
Now you're just blowing my mind. So let's not go there. Okay. Hey, how about that? The two times that I use Teams to teach, because the most of the time it's been with Zoom, people complained about this middle icon bar sitting in the screen the entire time. But if I don't touch the mouse for a while, then it goes away automatically. But how do I get rid of it? Like, let's say I just shared a screen and I want that thing gone.
So that's that new setting that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
go into your settings and you check that box, you'll have to probably restart your computer and all that stuff for it to do it. But when you join a meeting, it'll now be a pop out and it'll be at the, here, you're going to see all your faces for a second. Does it show anything? No?
It shows your initial and it shows the toolbar and our faces underneath.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going to share my home. Maybe it's not going to show the whole thing.
Okay.
It's not going to show it. But with that new setting, it automatically.
We can see your screen.
Can you see? Okay.
Yeah.
So see how my information's all up here now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So with that new
Oh.
setting, you don't have to wiggle your mouse for that to come up. It's automatically out of the way. And all of your actions are right here. So that was your gallery. That's where you'll find that large gallery and your together mode.
So that is in, okay, so.
Go to here and then you're set. You'll have to turn on the new meeting experience.
I get it. Okay. Okay. New meeting experience. Let me write that down. Experience. And that will anchor the toolbar to the top rather than showing up in the middle.
Yep. And then that also gives you your the option for your large gallery and your together mode and all that stuff.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay, good. Now, does Teams have, like some of the other platforms, does it have it has a raise your hand, but does it have a clapping or thumbs up? You know, if I'm looking for a okay, so Katie just raised her hand. Does it have like a thumbs up if I'm looking for agreement on the group?
Testing it out.
That's
think
nice.
That in your chat.
Oh, it's in the chat?
So if you go into your chat right here,
Okay.
people will be able to.
Oh, emojis and stuff. Okay.
That
Yeah.
and their emojis. Their
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Reacted. Okay. Well, I got it. Oh, nicely done. All right. That helps. Now, how do I get back into this?
Was I right, Todd?
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to let him see the word.
Okay.
That was nice. Ellipsis. Those three ellipses.
I think it's a long E.
Oh, let's see.
The last
Ellipsis?
E says ellipses.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
That
I
would
think
be the
it's
plural. Okay, that's good. Hey, there was only one more.
If you go to Merriam-Webster, you can click on the little speaker and it'll pronounce it for you. So
Nice move. Hey, I just found out for the first time this week that Word has a dictate feature and I don't have to type anymore. I can just speak to it.
Oh,
That was awesome. I hit that by accident, by the way, and Word started showing up in my document. So now I will never type again.
Just make sure you proofread everything a couple times.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah.
you know what? It'll actually go new line, period, new paragraph. It'll actually just like a dictation machine.
That's hilarious.
That was cool. Hey, okay, so I got that. Channels. I did have a question. Planner, settings. No, I think you answered them all. I think I got. That's okay. So my questions have been answered.
Perfect.
That's it. That was good.
Anybody else?
I have a couple.
Okay.
When you attach a file either in a chat or to a team, well, mostly in a chat or on a one of the project cards, does it duplicate it or link to the SharePoint location and you're editing the original?
So I think if it's already in SharePoint, it'll link to it.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Don't quote me on it so I'm not very smart when it comes to SharePoint. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't necessarily understand SharePoint all that much, but I believe if it's already in SharePoint, it'll save in SharePoint.
Okay.
I think the answer is it depends.
Okay.
And I think the important part and maybe the best practice is to understand before you share it, because each team or each group, I believe, has its own space that's automatically created with it if that files is attached.
Yeah.
The way that our setting is set up, organization wide, it defaults to a OneDrive, I think, based on either the individual or based on the team. So if it's in a OneDrive and that OneDrive space isn't shareable, then the only person that has access to that source document is the creator. But you can redirect where that file space is. And so I think we just need to get more information about either how to default that organization wide, or as a content creator and a sharer, how to control that space. So if you're doing training, you can control where that storage item is so that people can get into it, but they can't get out of it.
So I've used this previously. So a best practice is to create it in Teams. So like when you shared that, upload a file or whatnot, and you could create new, that'll potentially, again, I don't know how the back end of your system set up yet. That way it lives in a space that everyone in your team can access.
Yeah.
And you can open those documents in the actual Word app on your computer from Teams. Like there will be another little ellipsis to the right. So if you don't want to work in Teams, you want to be able to look at the team you're working with and work on the project, you can open it in the app.
Yep.
And there's version history in case you screw up. I learned that the hard way before. So when
people are working on it.
Right. If 12 people are working on it, there's version history. Every time a change is made, it saves it. And you can go back and view the version. So I had a non-document related question. You said you use Teams for phones, for calls. Is that set up with what phone number? Since I don't have a Lucas number, I'm just using my personal cell phone. It'll obviously be a VoIP call via my computer when I'm on my computer, but if I'm away, where does that connect to?
Todd?
I think right now in our meeting, we had just set you up with a Lucas email. Not everybody has a phone number at Lucas.
Right.
Usually it's just the people that are in the office there on a regular basis.
Right.
Mostly have a number. So I don't think right now there was a need for phone number, so that's why there wasn't anything set up. But usually what happens is it just rings through your Teams and you answer, and then if you're not there, it leaves a voicemail and you get a notice that you have a voicemail to listen, and you just do it on that platform. Yeah.
Okay.
But Jessica, since you do have the Teams app, I believe as long as it's Teams to Teams, I could still call you on Teams. If you had the Teams app, it just can't be an outside phone number. So if I was trying to call you from my cell phone, that wouldn't work. But if I call you from my Teams app, it would ring you on your either desktop if you have Teams open, or on your Teams app on your cell phone if you have that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
Is that accurate though? Because if I'm still trying to figure out how the whole Teams phones work, but so if somebody calls from an external number to our office and then they see Jessica's name, or they can say Jessica's name, will it pick her up, or how does that work?
That I'm not sure of. I don't know if there's a difference between outgoing and incoming.
Yeah, or internal and external.
Yeah. Those are things that I think we as a group are going to have to engage, either figure out ourselves and inform Elevate, or ask Elevate and let them inform us. Because
I could call off my cell phone into Teams and look. Well,
you can call the office phone number from your actual cell phone number and say Jessica's name and
see if it picks up.
You can do it right now.
Yeah. I could do it live.
Wow.
And it's recorded, so that'll be for posterity.
Katie's probably using.
Say, Watson, I hear you, or I need you.
Are you on right now, Katie, using this?
What?
Are you on your phone right now for the Teams
No,
meeting?
I'm on my laptop.
Okay.
So any other questions? Okay, I'm
good.
Presley, I think you did a rock star job. I think you did
Yes.
awesome.
Okay.
Presley, nice job.
I have an
Future
interesting one.
career.
I do have an interesting one. So I am looking right now at the together mode, and I see everybody at the same time. And I hadn't paid a whole lot of attention to it, but when you see pictures on Facebook, it becomes a little bit more apparent. Presley was the presenter, and she's using her cell phone as her camera. She is using the forward-facing camera on her cell phone and not the rearward-facing camera. And other than Jessica, who already knows what I'm referring to, who knows why I know that?
Because you're swapped.
Staring at my screen.
Joe, what do you notice about her and looking at her appearance?
Presley,
Yes.
This is on
she's
the
wearing a Lucas shirt.
Okay. And can you read the word Lucas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So if, yeah, that's exactly.
Oh, yeah. Jessica's wearing golden something.
So
And Johnny Cash.
oddly enough, for some reason, the default on the forward-facing camera is to give the mirror image of what is being displayed, unlike the rearward-facing camera, which gives you the actual image of what's displayed. So I don't know if that's just a talking point of understanding what's going on and positioning yourself with the display on the computer. But if you want what you're wearing or what's behind you to be displayed in such a way that people can read it appropriately, then and you use your cell phone as your camera, use the rearward facing version, and then use your your computer to actually position yourself and everything in the frame.
You just blew my mind. Okay, that's good.
And you can display that one in real time because she could tap her phone and then switch to the other camera and then turn her phone around. And then you'll see it switches to the other side.
Wow.
Well, you can see
Okay,
it
good.
and read it, and you can't read mine.
Yeah,
Awkward.
that was good. Hey, Presley, great job. I learned a lot.
Great job.
Thank you.
And I'm going to record this, and I am going to send it out to everybody, even those that couldn't attend, because I think there's some valuable information in there to be gained from other people, whether they're working at the client site or they're working with us in the office. I think there's a lot of valuable information, and plus just gets people more familiar and a little bit more comfortable with using this, because I think this is certainly the path that we've chosen. So I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
Our next session is not until September 11th because of Labor Day coming up, and it's Paul Casey, Thriving While Teleworking. So I'll send out information about that as well for that coming up. But thank you, you guys, and you have a great weekend. Honestly, phenomenal. You did such a great job. Really,
Hey, nice meeting you, Jessica.
Nice to meet you.
And welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
See you, Aaron, Katie.
Bye, guys. Be safe.
Bye, Todd.
Bye.
Thanks for
Good seeing
putting
you
this
guys.
together, Aaron. See you, Joe.